It's time for Show Me the Franchise.
With Thomas and Frederick. With Thomas and Frederick.
It's time for Show Me the Franchise.
With Thomas and Frederick. With Thomas and Frederick.
Welcome to Show Me the Franchise, the podcast that talks about franchise of all shapes, sizes, backgrounds, genres, and types. I'm one of your hosts, Tom Stadler, here as usual with, the best housewife I know, the cattiest of the cats that I can call at the top of my head, my fellow host, Fred Dakin.
What did you exactly mean by that?
I just meant that I really appreciate what you do around the house, Fred.
I know, like, it sounded like you were saying something nice, but there was like an underlining tone with the way you were talking to me just now. It felt like you were coming across insincere. I'm just going to say it right now.
You tend to say this to me, and I really don't like the way that you make me feel when you accuse me of doing these things that I didn't do.
I just don't like that you do this in front of people. We've got someone new in the studio.
I know.
And you're just making me feel embarrassed, and I'm tight right now.
I feel like I'm going to have a panic attack. It's going to get too much.
And scene.
And
See, look, that was pretty good, right?
Yeah, our guest is nodding in approval right now.
I felt like let's do it. Real house fellas.
Real house fellas.
Real good fellas of baby of
Yeah.
Milwaukee.
Our guest
Yeah.
grabbed like a box of popcorn from under the desk and like slowly lifted it up and started eating pieces. I felt when we got in it.
Yes, yeah.
Mhm. I felt right at home. What would happen from here
Oh,
would
yes,
be, yes, a fight would ensue,
Mhm.
but then it would go on for several weeks
Yeah.
of me talking to Fred about what Tom said. There's a lot of that. A
Mhm.
lot of, should we say what we're talking about?
I mean, yeah, we should introduce the topic. We were talking about Real Housewives, and no specific city, because there's many cities, but we got a lot of tea to spill today, you guys.
I hope it's not my tea that I have over here.
No. We're going to spill the metaphorical tea.
Oh, okay, good.
We're going to be very careful to leave your perfectly made tea intact.
Thank you so much.
It smells so good.
It
like,
does.
I'm like,
Yeah.
It smells like fall.
I popped it open so more air, you can keep getting whiffs.
well, we do need to keep ourselves calm here, because I think when you're talking about Real Housewives, you have a tendency to start letting tempers flare.
Tempers fly, words fly,
Yeah.
feelings are hurt.
And it's tough.
It's tough. It's
Yeah.
tough, but it's wonderful. I couldn't love it more.
I really appreciate too that you just jumped into the fray, because there are some people who come on and they are like, no, I'm not going to talk until I get introduced. But joining us this week is Erin Frank.
Hi.
Welcome.
Thank you guys so much. How could I not speak right away when such a scene was
I know,
laid
right?
out?
But Erin, you are not unfamiliar with radio, or I should say broadcasting in general. You work for WUWM, and I had to practice saying that because that is hard to say.
That's, I will tell you. So WUWM is, Milwaukee's NPR member station.
Yes.
And sometimes if we're lucky to have national talent from NPR do call for us, they always say it's the toughest one to say. Those letters together are a real mouthful. So you did great.
It's a lot of U's.
It is a lot of U's followed and, surrounded by other multi-syllable letters like W.
Yeah, I was thinking that was kind of blowing my mind. The W
WUWM.
Mm-hmm. Try and say it 10 times fast.
Yeah, it's
WWM.
Yeah.
Hey, that was
Fred gave up after
Yeah.
one already.
Mhm.
But yes, so obviously this is a little different than public radio. We are a self-funded podcast where we don't have any restrictions. We don't have what is it, the
No FCC guidelines.
Yeah,
Okay.
no.
You haven't lost funding because you never had it.
No,
or-
yeah, exactly.
yeah, that's the way we like it.
Our funding is only sponsored by our Patreon. Please join the Patreon. $1 a month. You can join Show Me the Franchise. Patreon.com/Show Me the Franchise. Sorry, Erin.
that was important.
But I didn't want to call that on. Well, obviously, I have to talk to later on in the episode when you're doing plugs about the important work that you're doing over there because it is great stuff. Obviously, now too, my wife is working directly with WUWM with Ex Fabula.
That's right. That's right.
Mhm.
The storytelling nature of Ex Fabula is a perfect fit for, I think, public radio and telling stories. And yeah, it's a great fit for that. And you know, there have been times when Bravo celebrities have made NPR news. I mean, sometimes it's become such a phenomenon that you do find that sometimes it'll Bravo news and gossip will hit the New York Times and
Yeah.
NPR. I mean, it is really kind of part of the monoculture now, and I'm excited to introduce you guys and your listeners to it. So
I have a feeling some people probably joined in here today because they do want to hear somebody who loves Real Housewives talk about it. Because we are talking about, you mentioned storytelling through Ex Fabula.
mhm.
There are some stories that go on with Real Housewives.
Oh, absolutely.
So I guess
Absolutely.
first thing we want to talk about here with you though is when did you first come across Real Housewives and like why did you latch onto it so quickly?
So that's an interesting question that I thought about because if you do look at the history or the origin story of it, as it's the Bravo cinematic universe. It's the
Yeah.
Bravo verse.
Uh-huh.
The Real Housewives of the OC, they said kind of came from Desperate Housewives and this idea of putting a lens on women who are maybe have stayed home or who of well women of certain means and the housewives aspect of it. And I have to say that was actually not my entry point. The first franchise, shall we say, I'm pretty sure the first one was New York.
Okay.
And that was my entry point. And I think because, so where you could say Desperate Housewives kind of mirror the Real Housewives of OC, the first franchise was sort of a Desperate Housewives. You know, these women are at home, they're living in cul-de-sacs. Are they fighting? Are they yelling? Yes. But it's a little more of that more traditional home life that you might suburbia, you know. But when New York came along, I associated a little more with Sex in the City, I
Oh,
think,
sure.
and was excited by this the glitz and the glamour and the escapism of these women in New York with money and fashion and some of them were married, a lot of them are not, and that's one of the things that's really interesting, maybe we'll talk about at some point, like, hardly any of them are even married anymore. The word wives is only part of the lore at this point,
Yeah.
but what I would have been in my 20s at that time.
Okay.
And something that's really interesting and something that does draw me to it to this day is these women are of a certain age. These are not, especially when you're a woman, a lot of pop culture and media is these younger women, these stories of these, and this is not that. I mean, some of them do have, maybe they'll throw someone in their 30s or something like that, but this is women, what they've made of themselves, the wealth that they've established, whether it's through themselves or through marrying a count that
Yeah.
has happened, through marrying their grandmother's husband after she passed. That has happened. I mean, there is some crazy shit that has happened, but these aren't young women. These are women that are in their 40s or some, I mean, at this point, there's some in their 50s, 60s,
Yeah.
and seeing them engage with each other. But yeah, New York was my entry point. I think seeing the city and seeing the connections and the fashion and the fights and the relationships and all of that. So from there, I just was kind of hooked. And I think Beverly Hills came next. I was hooked.
Mhm.
I don't know exactly what order from there, but most and I do refer to them as franchises when I talk about them. So that's why when you told me you had this podcast, I'm like, well, when do I get to come on?
Yeah.
Because there is no, I mean, it's literally franchised through these cities finding a fit for certain cities and finding the right group of women. And yeah, that's my
it was interesting too that you mentioned Sex in the City too. Not just for New York, but because even I feel like the show Desperate Housewives doesn't exist without Sex in the City, right? Because
Mhm.
that Sex in the City came first.
I'm pretty sure.
Pretty sure, yeah. I think Sex and the City is like still 90s.
I was going to say late 90s.
And Desperate Housewives feels like 2000. Like when I moved to the Georgia suburbs
Mhm.
outside of Atlanta, the Desperate Housewives was like seemed like the vibe, like a heightened version of the world that was around me.
Right,
Mhm.
right. These kind of Stepford wives or
Yes.
something like that. And that's really not where the Real Housewives ended up going. It became far less about families and neighbors and far more about these women's relationships with each other
Yeah.
and with money and with fame and um but yeah, I think the idea of women who are friends, women who have complicated relationships, women who are showing vulnerability at and sexiness and glamour at an age when so even though I at the time was young, I think I sort of saw it and was excited by this idea of putting a different sort of woman in the spotlight.
Yeah.
Imperfect certainly. You know, in all their flaws and yeah.
Which I mean, I think reality TV is built around the idea of exposing people's like worst sides of them at times, right? Because that's what makes good entertainment.
Absolutely.
It's funny though too, because then I think you even go back further, and I think the first instance I can even think about of this is like Golden Girls, right? Like you have women of a certain age who are also in like what their 50s in that show.
I think that there are women currently on some of my favorite like cities that are absolutely the ages of the Golden Girls.
And
Oh,
you
yeah.
would never guess looking at them, though. They're
Yeah.
all like the same ages. Like, it's like, what were people doing in the 80s? It's different, but
I don't know. I mean, some of them were aged up a little bit, but
Sure.
not that much
Mhm.
for the time. So
yeah, it's just, but it is such an interesting concept to me to kind of follow that evolution,
mhm.
to getting into this, where it is like, I think that is the first instance we actually see women of like an older age who are like, oh, this is just about their friendships. There's no man involved. What is the rule they call it? It's like in film.
Oh, the Bechdel test.
Yes,
Can
yes.
do these women talk about anything other than a man or a relationship with a
Yeah.
man? And
Right.
yeah.
And I mean, we've been watching a little bit of Golden Girls, my wife and I recently, and just and it's funny to kind of see them because there is a lot of plots early on that is around like, well, are you going to go on a date with this nice man you met? And it's like, but I think where you get more invested is when it's like sort of like B. Arthur and her mother, and it's like, yeah,
Yeah. We could switch gears here and talk about the Golden Girls because I have much to say on
Sure.
that as well.
Come back for the Golden Girls episode.
Yeah.
That'll be good. But
Yeah.
I only pick on this to be like, I think up until this point that Real Housewives came along, you really didn't even see a lot of reality competitions too, or reality shows that were about that. Like you had the Real World, you had like, which was about what, like college age kids.
20s. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a lot of younger women, like you mentioned, like,
Mhm.
or like even in America's Next Top Model, right? It's all about like young models that are like impossibly thin.
Hmm. And that's not to say that I completely acknowledge that these women don't represent a great a great breadth of diversity among them. They all have the same face at this point.
Yeah.
They're all going. I mean, I'm not sitting here saying that this is a marginalized, a marginalized topic or star, but it is a little bit for looking at women and the way women are portrayed on television. I think it did start something different that clearly worked, and
Right.
clearly was something people were interested in.
Well, yeah, and we'll talk about it, but it span off like 10 different franchises of its own, or like different types of cities.
And this is actually a perfect week for us to be talking because this weekend I think it's the 14th through 7th is BravoCon. I don't know if I think this
I
is
didn't
maybe
even know there was
this
BravoCon.
is like the third or fourth one. I think it's in Vegas this year because it started in New York. I mean, this is like huge. Now, Bravo, of course, has a million other but I think most of the stuff did spin off from the concept of the Housewives, whether it's
Yes.
Vanderpump Rules or the Below Deck, which is the yacht series. It's this idea of this escapism and this wealth and the problems that still accompany being in that space. So yeah, we're pre-Bravo. We're gonna get that pre-BravoCon crowd. Maybe you guys will be there next year.
Yeah, maybe.
know.
We could have a panel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, what do you guys do? Well, we've talked about Bravo shows.
Mhm.
Although actually we've only talked about like cooking, but we haven't even done like Top Chef or anything.
No. Was RuPaul's Drag Race not on Bravo?
No,
That was
Just
just
VH1, right?
Paramount and of some.
Yeah.
It's funny for me personally. I kind of get, because people do know how much I love the Housewives.
Yeah.
People assume that I love all reality TV, which I want to be clear, I do not judge, because like I always say, I watch every single
Mhm.
franchise, and I
Mm.
do waste my time with the Housewives, but I actually don't love a competition. I don't really watch any
Oh, I'm-
competition shows. I don't watch any dating reality. Those make me so uncomfortable. I don't know why, but like the thought of watching The Bachelor or Love is Blind or something. So I'm not even like a champion for. I do watch some of the Bravo one. I like Vanderpump. I like Southern Charm. Some of those I like,
Sure.
but I'm pretty loyal to my Housewives. So
And what is it about Housewives compared to some of those shows, just to kind of build on that, that really you're like, okay, this is for me, but something like Survivor or something like that isn't for you?
right. I don't know exactly how to answer that. I think the competition of it all makes me there, and there's drama involved, I'm sure. I mean, I'm sure there's fights or there's romances or there's things like that, but
Mhm.
there's something about the predictability of it that I've
Mhm.
always been. I mean, I know we're not here to talk about my TV habits, but I actually do really like a procedural.
Oh, yeah.
I like a good Law and Order SVU. I like things to have a beginning, middle, and an end, you know?
Mhm.
Mhm.
And there is something comforting, question mark, about I know it feels like it should be the opposite of that, but I think knowing what you're getting into, whether it's a medical procedural, they're gonna fix the guy at the end, or
Mhm.
they're gonna win or lose the case at the end. And there's something about they're gonna get in fights all season long, and then Andy Cohen will host the Watch What Happens Live or the reunion show, and then they'll all be in it together.
Mhm.
I never really thought of it that way, but I think that might be what's going on there.
Yeah. But I think that does make sense though too. And I do know what you're talking about with like the predictability, especially like, and I've never been somebody that's been really into like Survivor or anything like that. We did an episode on Survivor, speaking of other reality shows.
Mhm.
I was trying to think about that we did. And I remember trying to watch it again. So like I was into the first season because it was sort of just like the zeitgeist of it all. And I was like, I don't love the way that people like are very fake in that regard, and it just I was like I'm not even in it for the competition aspect. This stuff
The
is kind
idea of
so-
having to like win people or fool people is, I don't know, that just feels uncomfortable to me. And
Yeah.
yet somehow throwing a glass of wine in another woman's face is okay. I don't know. I'm not here to explain this.
Something you feel,
Yeah.
you know? I
Yeah.
get that with the procedurals, or for me, it's like sitcoms, like
Same.
Golden Girls,
Mhm.
Cheers. That is just like comfort, So I get, find a thing that where it's going. It feels something you're familiar with. So I get it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so you never really watched like
Reality
any Real
TV.
Housewives. I mean, yeah, reality
Just
TV
because I
in
didn't
general.
have cable, like, ever. Like,
Why
like,
was that again? For
I grew up in a small town.
Oh,
Yeah. I grew up in a small farm town in Town, which now Tom has gotten to see. So like we had a TV. I wasn't allowed to watch it Monday through Friday. It was mostly just VHSs of Disney movies, nothing past PG. Video games we didn't get till like way later, which kind of was like a monkey paw situation, because now like I've become like a movie obsessive and like
Yeah.
all that stuff. But yeah, so like reality TV was just stuff I had heard about,
Mhm.
maybe catching at a friend's house. I remember shows like Next or Big Brother.
mhm.
But I feel Real Housewives, I remember the kind of spoof of it that was, I think Kevin Hart's show was like Real House Husbands of LA or something, and it was like in the style, but it was like the guys, and the girls were like making the money, and they were just like the guys who didn't have their careers together, and they were like kind of, and it was like sort of a spin on it, but I think it was scripted in the style. So this was new for me. I am going to shout out, just because I don't want to forget, my first like introduction to it really was the Interchange Theater has a group called Real Housewives of Milwaukee. I think it's just Real Housewives of, I think, Milwaukee.
Okay,
And
well, same
so,
with my book club, so I'll be
Oh,
sending
nice.
and desist.
Okay.
oh, hey, sorry, girls. No, but that group, I think they're all huge fans, and I could see like that was something that they loved watching it. So that was my
Sure.
first days, was actually like a kind of spoof version, an improv version, and then leading up to this was kind of my first actual watching of it.
Yeah.
Isn't
No.
it funny when a spoof is your first introduction to something?
Yeah.
That was like Austin Powers for me. I was
Right.
not
Oh, yeah.
getting the James Bond references
Yeah.
at all.
Mhm.
I feel like there's like several examples of movies.
Austin
or-
Powers is a good one for
yeah,
sure.
movies or TV shows where you enjoyed it thoroughly unaware of what the like source material was.
Mhm.
Yeah, and my dad would rent us like the old James Bond movies around, and it was like around the same time of Austin Powers, and I just never put that together till later.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I was the opposite way. I felt like my buddies and I were like really into James Bond. So when Austin Powers came along, I was like, this is hilarious. But well, I think my dad watched a lot of Bond movies too growing up.
Right.
But yeah, it's an interesting thing that you talked about, kind of going backwards from that. I never knew about the Kevin Hart show. So-
Mhm.
Either. I thought you were going to say Hot Wives of there's on Hulu there was a spoof called Hot Wives of, I think it was Las Vegas.
Oh.
And it was like Casey Wilson and Danielle
Yes,
Steiner.
I
And
did
now-
see some of
yeah,
that
and
as
now
well.
they have a podcast that I love that's
Mhm.
that covers Bravo and Housewives, but
That's wonderful.
yeah.
Another group of comedians who definitely like love the show, and like I think they spoof it with a lot of love and a lot of knowledge.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's it is something that's kind of rife for, I think, a lot of like bridging the gap to other things too.
Mm.
Because I think I remember my mom watched a lot of Desperate Housewives.
Mhm.
So when Real Housewives came along, I was like, well, is this different? Like, is this like a sequel series? Kind of like if we're going back to Golden Girls, the Golden Palace, right? As the sequel series. But no, and then I was like, oh, okay, so it's a reality TV show. But I do feel like for so long, it was just a lot of the memes that I was like getting it. And the first one that really clicked with me, and I think I mentioned it to you the other night when we were talking about this, was the one with like, though I can't remember who it was, but she's pointing
Oh.
at a table, and then on the other side somebody puts a cat like in a seat
Yeah.
at the table.
Yeah, that Taylor, it's Tayller Armstrong from the Real Housewives of OC, and it's just I
Oh.
don't know though how the cat got involved. There was, I could be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure there was no cat in the original.
It wasn't like a Sabrina Teenage Witch situation.
Yeah, they did try to do an animated cat in one season, and it didn't. No.
That would have been, hey, that would have gotten me in.
Yeah.
Boy, you gotta be going for a second. I
yeah.
was like, wow, they really got desperate.
No,
but-
the pets don't make a huge appearance. There's too much these crazy women to cover.
Although I will say, when I was watching earlier this weekend, there was an ad for like Real Housewives, but it was like dog food or something like that, and it was all their pets like advertising it. They're like,
They do have that. I thought you were going to say wife swap. Did you see they're doing a Housewives wife swap right?
Oh, wow.
They're that show Wife Swap.
Life Swap I have seen a good bit of, because there's that clip that circles of that little pudgy kid that looks a lot like me when I was little, who loves bacon. Like my mom didn't let, another thing that kind of came back and bit me in the butt was like I would had no junk food in the house, but there's that little kid on Wife Swap that's like, I love bacon. And like he's just like, the mom comes in, she's like a health nut, and he's like, she thinks she's all that, and she thinks we're the sorry people. That's my favorite line ever.
the sorry people.
So I watched Wife Swap was like at my grandparents' house, because I feel like that would kind of get into like syndication more. But I feel like I like the idea of the Real Housewives and the swapping.
Well, and the idea is, I thought it was they were just going to swap with one another
Sure.
across franchises, but they're going to like normal ass people's houses.
Oh.
So it's like Melissa Gorga from New Jersey is going to perhaps a small town in Georgia, or um Angie from Salt Lake City is going to a farm in Idaho or something. As I think that's kind of a fun, no, but
I
that's
like
a franchise of a franchise. So let's just not go down the rabbit hole.
Well, I mean, we gotta still stick with the crux of what's
Exactly.
going on
Yeah.
here.
Exactly.
Because yeah, I mean, if we're listing off all the franchises now, unfortunately, I did get them all here. So we have Real Housewives of Orange County, which you said was the first one.
Mhm.
New York City. There's Atlanta. There's New Jersey. So New York and New Jersey, that's different.
Those are different. yes.
Okay.
The New Jersey, think Carmela Soprano.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
That's the vibe. New York is more, well, New York has been rebooted with a new cast, which is a whole nother thing to talk about. It was not, didn't go over well, which is actually really interesting. Like people don't want that. I think if you're going to do something new, you have to pick a new city, because they tried to reboot in the same city and it was flop city.
Sure.
But yeah. So sorry, go on. with
No,
the cities.
no, that's fine. I was,
But
I
yeah,
was-
New Jersey is more think Carmela Soprano vibes, whereas New York is think high fashion.
Gotcha.
But
vibes.
it's funny though, because I do feel like I was watching like clips of like New York, and there was a woman who reminded me a lot of Carmela Soprano. And I can't remember who she is, but she's got
Probably Luann.
shorter blonde hair.
Yeah, with a husky voice.
A little bit,
Oh,
yeah.
or maybe that was Dorinda. Actually, it was probably Dorinda.
Ooh. Oh,
And always a good name or two in these, I'm learning.
Always.
Yeah.
Always.
for sure. But then we also have Washington D.C.
R.I.P.
Okay.
That's no longer a
Oh,
franchise.
R.I.P.
Mhm.
Beverly Hills,
Mhm.
Miami, Potomac.
Potomac.
I was like, why can't I pronounce this? Like I should.
I thought this was a new place I haven't heard about.
No, Potomac. Thank you. Showing my ass here a little bit. Dallas,
R.I.P. Also no longer.
Salt Lake City,
Huh?
and Rhode Island. I don't think Potomac is a word I've ever said out loud. I'm just kind of like thinking about it right now.
You're sitting with Potomac. But yeah, and that Potomac, that was kind of to replace DC getting canceled. It's sort of DC area,
Yeah.
Virginia, Baltimore.
Because the Potomac runs in
Rhode
that area.
Island, I mean, we can talk about that when we get to some other questions, but that one hasn't debuted yet. That's brand new.
okay.
That's the next,
Oh.
that's what's to come. So,
And Rhode Island is an interesting
Isn't it?
choice because it's
Isn't
like
it?
not big.
well, again, I don't want to segue away from where you take this conversation usually, but I will say Salt Lake felt like that too. When they announced Salt Lake, that's the newest one as of now. And I want to say, I don't know, maybe you have the year on there, but it's probably 4-ish years ago, 2021.
I
or-
believe, yeah, they debuted in 2020.
Okay. Great year for us all.
Yeah, I mean,
Actually, for
Oh,
a
yeah.
TV show to
Oh,
debut. What's
that's
anyone-
true.
What's,
Ish.
what's one anyone else doing? But yeah, when they announced that was the next city, we were all like, "What? Where? Why?" And I will tell you, it is the best. It is firing on all cylinders right now. It is so good. It is so good. Did you watch the Milwaukee episode?
yes.
Tell me your thoughts.
I'm like, should we dive into like our thoughts on everything right now? I mean, no, I thought it was very interesting to honestly see Milwaukee through other people's eyes.
Isn't
who
it
are
fun?
like people who are like, what do you do? Because it is a little bit of like, hey, what are the Visit Milwaukee bullet lists? You go to the bobblehead museum,
Yeah.
right? You go to a Bucks game, and it's like, and I'm like, yes, I suppose these are the things that you would go to.
But did you clock in the beginning? Did you watch this too?
I didn't watch this episode. I watched a lot of like clips of Salt
Okay.
Lake City, so I'm like familiar with the people.
Well, so the best part is like the top of the episode where they're getting ready to leave when Whitney Rose is talking to her husband and he goes, "Well, when I heard you're taking them to," let me back up by saying cast trips are a big part of this franchise.
Sure.
They're a very exciting thing. Almost every season has and they always do it in such an inorganic way. Like clearly production wants to film them in Dublin or in Mexico or
Right.
in Portugal. But they always find like a weird reason to be like, my ancestors were from here and I'm gonna go look for their grave. Would you 8 friends of mine like to come? Like they always find like it's like break the fourth wall and just be like, so the cast trip this year. But her husband goes, when I heard you are taking them to Milwaukee in February, I realized, wow, you really hate these women. Milwaukee in February. But
It's tough.
they made it look pretty good.
They definitely showed off a nicer part of Milwaukee, or I should say, like
Yeah.
the nicer side of Milwaukee. Because people, I think, if you are from like not Wisconsin, you're gonna be like, whatever you saw on Happy Days or like that '70s show, you think Wisconsin's just like hodunky, like little diners and that's it, or like little like houses in a row. And
Mhm.
it's like there's a little more culture to this town. Fred, you're looking at me like you don't agree with that sentiment.
I think it's fine. I like Milwaukee. That's why I'm still here. It's like Epcot Chicago is what I always refer to it as. And I love Epcot, so
Epcot, Chicago. I've never heard anyone try to
I
correlation.
am feeling that description. I always say like a shrunken down or like a snow globe Chicago. So it's same
Yeah.
idea. It is like a shrunken down mini Chicago
I-
in some ways.
Yeah. I mean, well, certainly the buildings here are
That-
not as big as Chicago.
Right, but the architecture is similar.
Sure.
You're in between a river and the lake. I mean, a lot of that is similar.
Yeah.
So
But yeah, I think it was definitely a fun episode to see. And it was a good one to kind of see that type of like structure, because that's one of the questions I definitely want to get into here, is just kind of understanding like what a flow of like all these episodes are. Have only seen kind of a handful of moments now, seeing like one episode and just knowing like, okay, so like what is like the inciting incident every day? They do have like birthday parties, or they have like dinner events or something like that. Is that just sort of like what they do every time?
I think that's a really interesting way to you're basically like what are they doing, what's the what how do they film these women? And yeah, that is a part of it. They have to find a reason for these women to be getting together, so it is a lot of that. It's a lot of I mean, sometimes it's my birthday, but there'll be really weird ones that it's like it's our 17th wedding anniversary and we're gonna do a vow renewal, which vow renewals are the kiss of death on Real Housewives. Most couples who have done a vow renewal have ended in horrific divorces. So
man.
that's the kiss of death. But yeah, that's a great they will often begin with, kind of the stock footage of, getting their glam makeup done or packing a suitcase, and then but the flow is pretty much getting these women to a central place together, whether it's a dinner. And if a dinner's just between two people, it means they're there to talk about someone else. So
yep.
and sometimes it's just entire seasons become about what this person said about this person. And it's like, you're being filmed, right? You can't deny saying something when it's literally been filmed. So,
Right. But it does feel like it's like they're getting paid though to speak their minds. It's kind of like what I understand is like the crux of the show, right? It's like, because there's a piece of me too. I'm like, who would say this stuff like this to people's faces? Like, but it's like, well, obviously though, you don't get filmed unless you got something to say.
well, and I mean, the older ones, do feel a little more authentic. That's a challenge with more recent episodes. We'll talk about that, I'm sure. Is how organic is the material and
sure.
everything. But there have been some really powerful moments of people learning that husbands are cheating on them, or that I don't know, big reveals, and then
Sure.
Arrests.
and what's that?
Arrests.
Oh yeah, that's definitely going on my top episodes for sure. But
We'll have to get into some of these moments here coming up, because I think it was such an interesting thing to me, because I think the only closely correlated thing I could think of when coming into a show, and I have never really watched a reality show like that other than The Real World, was the thing I remembered. As my sister, who also is a huge Real Housewives fan, she's a little jealous that she didn't get to do this episode, but she's getting.
oh, I hope I'll do her right.
She'll be fine.
We'll insert a blurb like right here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
from her? Drop it in if she wants to have some comments.
No, she's
No?
gonna freeze me out. No,
yeah.
no, she's fine. She's fine. But no, I mean, she also watched a lot of the Real World, so it made a lot of sense to me watching this now, and like, it's like, so this is like more grown up version of the Real World.
It is, but the key difference, and again, this is something that has changed a little and that I don't love, but the key difference between the Real World and the Real Housewives is that Real World was expressly let's get people who don't know each other
Mm,
into a house or situation or
right.
moving van, whatever it is. But the key there was getting people who don't know each other, and the origin of the Housewives was to find these women who already had relationships with
Mhm.
one another. The better years of certain cities or new franchises are the ones where these women are organically friends. And sure, not everyone's going to be best friends, but someone has a connection to and the more orchestrated they feel, which is when I said the New York kind of flopped, that was largely the issue. Is it was quite obvious that these women didn't have a relationship outside of filming. So
Sure.
so you're right in the sense that it's similar in that it's these raw reactions to people engaging in a closed quarters or whatever. But
Yeah.
the difference being there's more of a background and a history. I mean, some of these women go back 20, 30 years, to when they were in their 20s and roaming around New York City. So
Yeah.
that's a key difference, but similarities too, I think.
Yeah, just the idea of like, hey, it's focusing in on the people, their relationships, how they interact with each other on a day-to-day basis, right?
Mhm.
And like, oh, so and so, like, I can't believe they tried to do this or that, and like that's all the stuff. That's all my memories, even of like, and really when things got real was
Mhm.
Real World Road Rules Challenge.
Sure,
Yeah.
the challenge.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
And the idea of moving around from city to city, I think,
Yeah.
is similar. Although I can't really they didn't the people on Real World weren't necessarily from that city, right? They would
No.
like ship people in from, yeah.
Because isn't
So
that a whole plot point? And she's all that like Matthew Lillard is auditioning for the Real World, and he gets on, and then he becomes like a superstar at the high school. Like,
I don't know that movie super well. I know that is that the one with who's the female star? Rachel.
Rachel Lee Cook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I had forgotten the Real World subplot.
Yeah. Oh
I
yeah.
had to. Yeah.
Because I think that was like, I think it's like Freddie Prinze Jr.'s like girlfriend in that like cheats on him with Matthew Lillard because he's like this star now.
MTV Real World.
I am pulling this out of my ass though. I
Yeah.
might be completely making that up, but I think that's what happens, and that's why he gets stuck in the bed.
Gotcha. Okay.
But,
Well, let's spoil that for people who
Oh,
haven't.
not
seen
all that.
all that. Let's not.
Mhm.
What if people haven't seen it? Just kidding. It came out like 25 years ago.
26 years old movie, you know. I'm sorry guys for the spoilers of She's All That.
You're just gonna have to put a spoiler alert at the top of the end.
I saw not another teen movie first. It was kind of like the spoof first. Just
There you
kidding.
There you go.
Yeah, but it's just funny because I think it's just kind of thinking about how that evolution even came. We were talking about like, okay, you had like Desperate Housewives, but yeah, I think there were those types of reality shows that kind of like paved the way for more of these now, and now we got so many different things.
Mhm.
But before we got there, we did have, as you mentioned, so Desperate Housewives was kind of the inspiration of sorts for the Real Housewives of Orange County.
Mhm.
So it was in May of 2005 that Real Housewives was first announced as one of 6 reality TV shows ordered by Bravo. I did not look up what the other ones were, but I assume one was probably Top Chef.
Probably.
Yeah.
I'm trying to. What else would have been in that era?
It feels post pre Queer Eye, or is that relevant?
Maybe it could have been. You know what? It might be Queer Eye. There was like a workout one.
Mhm.
There was like a hair, like a salon based one.
Were the celebrity like kind of reality shows on Bravo? Was it like I'm thinking like Osbourne's and Gene Simmons Family Jewels? Are those like Bravo shows? Or are those
You know which one might have been was Life on the D List with Kathy Griffin.
Oh, okay.
Maybe. I think that might have been Bravo, but
All right, I'm gonna
Maybe some of those I'm thinking of were MTV, maybe because they're musicians. But that was, I feel, the reality shows I would drop in on every once in a while, just because I was like, I want to know what these people are like, and I was disappointed for the most part. But I watched a lot of it.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's like it's a lot of this type of TV that I think comes in there. It sounds like, yeah, definitely was Real Housewives. It definitely was Top Chef. It definitely was Queer Eye.
yeah, Queer Eye.
But even Queer Eye sounds like it was like a little bit before that. I wonder if maybe
Yeah.
that was the proof statement of like we need more shows like
Mm-hmm.
this that kind of like get people together, get into people's lives a little bit. But yeah, so it was January 2006. They announced that it was going to be the Real Housewives of Orange County. So filming began in 2005. First season aired on Bravo from March 21st to May 9th of 2006. I was a wee 18-year-old in my senior year of high school. That's a date myself, but I was like, how did I miss some of this? But it's like, yeah, I had other things going on at the time.
You had
Being an-
dates.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Being an 18, I don't know that 18-year-old boys in Wisconsin were the target for this, but
You never know.
You never
I
know.
mean, I had interesting tastes. I don't even remember what I was watching in 2006 though. I'm like, I couldn't even tell you guys. But I guess the original cast consisted of, can you name them? I'm gonna guess.
oh. So as mentioned, I did not start there, but I do think I could Vicky Gunvalson,
Yes.
um uh Keogh, what's her first name? Gina Keogh.
Yeah.
Um
She related to Riley?
I don't think so.
Okay.
There are some celebrities that are like loosely related to other people,
Yeah.
but not in this cast, I don't think. Joe somebody.
Yeah, Joe De La Rosa.
Joe De La Rosa. Was Taylor Armstrong in that first season? Yeah, see, I don't that first season I'm not an expert on. But Vicky is still part of the Housewives universe. She wasn't on the that's something they're playing with too. They're like bringing people back. They're retiring them and then bringing them back, and no one's ever really gone
Oh.
unless they die, which no housewife has died. But now I'm gonna knock on wood.
Yeah, I
because-
was gonna say,
Yeah.
no, kiss of death right there.
I know.
The other ones you did not mention were Kimberly Bryant and Lori Waring.
Yeah, that's before my time.
Mm. That show had 4 spinoffs, though, what you mentioned too. Like there was a lot of spinoffs.
I saw that too, and I think they tried those spin-offs on there. They clearly tried to spin off from that and then realized, wait a minute, we're not going to spin off these particular Orange County women. We're going to spin off this idea of, and that's when they went to New York and Atlanta and Beverly Hills.
Yeah, because like I mean, I was looking at some of these. I'm like, I don't remember ever hearing.
No, I don't think they.
Glittertown maybe sounds
Oh,
familiar.
certainly not ever heard of that.
Maybe I'm thinking of what was the show with Courtney Cox?
Cougar Town.
Cougar Town.
Yeah. Sorry, we're doing a little tour through like TV.
I
history.
know. I can meet you toe for toe on most.
I really appreciate that you guys are able to pick up like everything. You're like, oh yeah, and then there was this show and that show. But then it was in September 2007, so about a year later, the network started production for the show Manhattan Moms was the name at the time. It's about like, Carmela and her friends. Just kidding. But by January 2008, the show was retitled to Real Housewives of New York City, becoming officially the second installment in the franchise.
Mhm.
And so in total now there have been 11 U.S. based franchises, which we listed before.
Mhm.
And there will soon be. So is Rhode Island going to be 11 or 12?
Well, that 11 might include some that aren't on anymore.
Sure.
DC and Dallas are no longer on. Miami was off, but then came back.
Okay.
So Rhode Island would probably, I don't know what number that would be, but it is super interesting, isn't it? I think my understanding is that it'll be similar to Jersey. Like
Mhm.
there's I think Providence is like a super interesting place that has roots in Italian like I don't know. I don't want to get canceled.
I don't know.
So
I was going to point out they could get Lois Griffin for the Rhode Island one. That would be fun.
sheesh, or at least a friend of. That's
Yeah.
a trope that a phrase you need to know if you're a Housewives fan is friend of, which means these are the people that they're on some episodes, but they're not main cast.
Which I think
So-
is like, I'll bring it up later as my highlight of my viewing experience, which I am going to say, I think I made the wrong move. I probably consumed about 2 hours of Real Housewives, but I watched YouTube and I kind of am regretting that I did clips because I feel like I just saw a lot of the drama, and I'm sure it's mostly
It's
drama.
mostly drama.
But I think if I would have just watched an episode, I would have had a better idea. But I wanted to consume as much as I could.
Yeah. Because that's definitely how I went about it too. I tried to watch like episode to at least get like some idea of like the structure. So I wanted to ask you, like I said, are they always like that? Or and then looking at the clips where it's like here are like the key moments. And I found thankfully a YouTube channel of like some like Housewives fanatic that put together all these collaborations of like these different clips.
Emotes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And those are what we watch for and what we love. But you do miss, I mean, they off a lot of them are moms, and there are really nice moments of them being good moms, or because they're, as we mentioned, of a certain age, they have aging parents, and you'll see really sweet moments, and they're funny. These women are funny, not all of them,
Sure.
but there are some. They are funny, and some of you can tell, I can tell, my discerning eye can tell if someone's got, when someone like has a phrase in their head and they're like, I thought of this, I'm gonna use it, versus when someone just says something hilarious and witty because it's in an unhinged moment and they just say it. And these women they're funny and they're vulnerable, but then but the clips are not going to show that.
Yeah.
They're going to show they're not
I think I
downgrading.
was missing the balance, even though, again, I have a feeling it's more skewed towards those moments, but I definitely
Really.
would have appreciated to see like the lighter side
Okay,
of them.
And to use another movie reference, my partner wanted to go see John Wick 4, and he was so excited that I'm like, well, I'll go. He's like, you will? And I did that. I'm like, I've never seen it. I haven't seen 1 through 3.
Mhm.
I'll just watch a YouTube. And I'm sure that I miss some of but I'm like, oh, so it was 30 minutes of fighting and shooting, and which again,
There's a big bunch of it. There's a lot of it. A big bunch. There's a lot of it. But
but isn't there also probably like moments that make it more of a story or more of, I don't know.
especially
I'm,
the first one. The first one's got
Yeah.
a lot of like good story stuff.
I'm reinforcing gender roles by assuming you both are intimately familiar with all of the John Wicks.
I will say
it's the safest
though,
Yeah.
I won't say much because I don't want to be off topic, but I will say 4 is just a good looking movie though. I think like
Yes.
it's got like a lot of just nice shots. Like I think there's like 2-minute shots of Ian McShane walking through a hall with paintings and stuff, and I'm like, I like that.
Well, it's funny too because just to speak about gendered ideas of like this, because I think when you talk about a franchise like Real Housewives, the immediate assumption everyone goes like, oh, that's a show for women, right? Or like
Or gay men.
or gay men, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, but is it? And because I was like, what is the presumptive male equivalent of Real Housewives? I have a thesis for you guys.
I'd love to hear it.
Barstool Sports.
Kind of. You're dancing around a similar topic, but here's where I'm going. WWE or professional wrestling. Because hear me out. Okay.
I'm interested.
Yeah. Because I think the reason, and I was a big pro wrestling fan when I was like 10, 11, 12, right? Like I was way into like The Rock. In fact, I have his signed photo up on the wall right there. I went to like a signing for him. That's how obsessed I was. But here was the thing. You go in not because you're like, oh, I really want to see all this action, like these guys. I mean, yes, you want to see them jumping off top ropes and stuff, but you want to see the drama. You're into the storylines, like, oh, The Rock's got beef with like Vince McMahon, and and he's like, what are they gonna get up to today? Or and like, oh, is the Undertaker gonna show up, and what's gonna happen when he comes around and he starts joining forces with so and so, right? And I kind of thought about it too. I was like, yeah, because that was so much of what you got invested in. Yeah, it was like, okay, they're gonna be in a steel cage or something like that. Sure.
And the shocking outfits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the hair and the
Mhm.
glam. I mean, I'm I'm hearing you out on this. I don't know a lot about WWE, but I think that's a good call. I was gonna say sports of some
Yeah.
I mean,
even
listen,
superheroes. I could see
sure.
superhero like these different. I mean, it's something I know even less about. I'm not part of that world, but that there's the Marvel and the DC, and these guys sometimes are together and sometimes aren't. And if you know another fan, you can sit down and just talk, which
Mhm.
is how it is with what. And yes, it is mostly women or gay men. But if I'm at a party and I meet someone and someone makes a quote or something, you know right away, like,
Yeah.
Mhm.
sit down. Did you see last week of Salt Lake? Because it was crazy. It was completely insane. And then you'll just
Yeah.
gab.
But I mean, does your partner watch Real Housewives with you?
No,
Oh, okay.
not. He thinks it sounds to him the way that John Wick sounds to like that to me.
Mhm.
Any shooty kind of movie sounds like noise, and that's what it sounds like to him when there's like yelling
Right.
women.
Now, do they like do the thing where that you're watching it and they might be standing in the room, like kind of watching standing, and they're like maybe ask a question and like kind of almost that like I'm not into it, but like I'm getting like it's pulling me in certain ways because that would happen with me and my ex when she would watch like 90 Day Fiance,
Mm.
and I would be like, I hate this. This is the worst ever, and then I'd be sitting there and I'd like. So they, there's something going on here, right?
Yes, that has happened every now and then. Like, now wait, what did she just say, or what are they talking about? And but for the most part, it's like no, it's noise. But yes, there's the occasional like, especially with I don't know how much you want to get into certain things, but Salt Lake is so good because you have these unhinged women,
Mhm.
but there's also this storyline of them largely being ex-Mormons,
Yeah.
some during the course of the show. And so I think that was one where I think there was some like dramatic situation happening about that
Yeah.
was kind of like, but that's made for a very interesting
Definitely.
background to that. They never got into religion before. I couldn't say a word about what any of these earlier cities religion. Nobody talked about it, and all of a
Right.
sudden it's this central.
Which I mean, and not to pinpoint that. I mean, because yeah, certainly when you think of Salt Lake City, you think of Mormonism, right?
Right.
It'd be similar to be like in New York City. You would expect that some of the women were probably Jewish, right, and that they lived in New York City.
Yeah, but culturally so, and not in a way that they like really talked about it, or
Right.
that it. Yeah,
I
But that
feel
is
like the New
interesting.
Jersey would maybe have like a lot of
That
like
was-
we've got to plan a communion party coming up, like a lot of that.
Yeah.
I mean, are you saying that because of the table flipping? That's another iconic housewife.
Oh,
moment
sure.
that was at a baptism or communion. I can't remember which. I think
Okay.
baptism, literally a table, like the famous Teresa Giudice flipping the table was in fact at a large Italian Catholic, family event where that was not appropriate whatsoever.
Maybe that's the one I should have checked out because I think a lot of like ladies yelling, saying like, "You think you're better than me?" Like I would love that.
Yeah.
You probably actually would love Jersey. It's so ridiculous.
It does kind of seem like your thing, Fred.
Yeah.
I would say that group of people, like especially because they got the Sopranos vibes.
Oh,
Mhm.
completely.
Love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. What the one I thought the juice with the Salt Lake City was all these women, definitely, or at least most of them, very rich. Maybe not like the most style forward, but they're spending the money on style and fashion, and that I was just kind of enjoying. The looks they were throwing were a little goofy at times.
It's each one crazier than the next with the
Mhm.
fashion on Salt Lake.
I mean, yeah, even just looking at the episode where they do go to Milwaukee and what's her name makes the glasses with the Greek flag.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Yep.
oh my God, this is ridiculous. But also, she's like, I kind of figured, if I go there, I'm not going to seem out of place. And, even like, Jasmine and I looked at each other and I was like, yeah, actually, you probably wouldn't get looked at because people would just assume, you okay, fan of Giannis, or you're here for him. Like,
Exactly.
There you go.
She is very proud of her Greek heritage, and that's part of her personality.
So, I
But
mean, I guess it does sound like, though, so culture does kind of play a part, though, in it, right? I mean, at least to some extent with them.
A little bit. And more so again, you see like we talk, in Jersey, it's this Italian Catholic, very family oriented, but very family. If you cross them, there's no coming back kind of thing, siblings that have been torn apart. Teresa also spent time in jail. That's another thing I wanted to mention at some point where appropriate is we have like a lot of housewives who are either in prison, spent time in prison, are being currently indicted for. I mean, it is when we talk about shine a spotlight, and it is like, I mean, I don't know. Are there FBI agents just watching the shows?
Maybe.
Like taking notes? Like, is there a bureau assigned to Bravo? Because as you might imagine, outside of some unfortunate drunk driving situations, it is mostly embezzling money, um, wire fraud, whatever the things the technicalities you get caught on for basically cheating and stealing money. And then it's this bigger question of is the show make it's like which came first, like are they committing these crimes to perpetuate this wealth status? So I don't know, it's kind of interesting to me that like I don't know.
Or if it comes after, is there like the feeling of like a little, being a little bulletproof because you're on TV, giving you that kind of, strength in
Which
some
again,
ways.
I think the Bravo Crime Bureau is like not letting that slide anymore. So
you got to think it's a little bit of both, right? Like you do need to uphold this image, and maybe you do feel like you're a little big for your britches. Like I could commit a little white collar crime.
Right.
What's the worst that's gonna happen to me? Especially, hey, not to get political here, but you're seeing a lot of people get away with some shit that's way worse than a lot of some of the
Yeah.
white collar crime we're talking about, and getting pardoned. And it's like, oh, okay, so.
but it's crazy. I mean, very recently, within the last month or two, Wendy Osefo from Dr. Wendy Osefo from
Oh.
Potomac, who, I mean, she was, I think, a professor at Johns Hopkins. She's been on MSNBC. I mean, she's a very accomplished woman, wife, mother. Their home was burglarized and all this stuff was stolen. But they just got they both, her and her husband both got arrested for basically staging that. And it got to the point where so basically they made a large insurance claim for stuff it turned out they had already returned. And then it's people are watching back episodes and saying, oh, in season 3, episode 5, she's wearing the ring that she claimed was stolen. I mean, it's like everybody's a detective, everybody's and it's sad. Like I mean, it's like, would these people have done such a thing had they not felt the need to show this well? I mean, it's not sad, but it's TV sad.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
But yeah.
Yeah.
It asks an interesting question.
They're neither going to be the first person nor the last person who comes into a little bit of stardom or power or fame, fortune, whatever you want to say it is, who starts to not act like the person they were once they get a little taste of the higher life.
Or
right?
feels desperate to not let that slip in any way.
Right, but that's a different show, Erin. That's Desperate House. We're talking about the Real
Sorry,
Housewives.
you're right.
But I do think it's interesting to talk about some of the people because I know you've kind of talked around that. And I'm kind of wondering if maybe that's a way we should start wedging our way in a little bit more. Is like who we talked about the people who were on the first season of Orange County, but Salt Lake City obviously has a pretty robust cast. I think Beverly Hills has some names that people would actually recognize too. I was kind of like, and is Denise Richards a regular on there?
She's not on anymore, but she was on 2 or 3 seasons.
Okay.
And that she Lisa, does the name Lisa Rinna mean something to people who aren't in the Housewives world? But from before, she was like a soap star. Like you would know her from like,
You know her face.
yeah, which has been heavily
Have you seen it?
worked upon.
I'll pull up a picture of Lisa Rinna.
Yeah. Show me a picture.
I'll be stunned if you don't recognize her.
So just kind of these like mid-level celebrities that she's married to. You know who she's married to? I'm gonna say is Harry Hamlin. Harry
Harry Hamlish?
No, he
No.
was on.
Henry Hamlin,
Yeah,
who
he was
in,
the sexiest man alive in like the 90s or early 2000s, and
he's in
he was in Mad Men.
he was in Mad Men.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just a face I know.
Or LA Law. I don't know.
I'm gonna get a little deeper. He's in Clash of the Titans.
Okay, there you go. But so yeah, some married to, you'll get someone who's married to an NFL player that
Sure.
I can't think off the top of my head.
Taylor
Tiki
Swift.
Barber's wife was on New Jersey for a hot minute.
That's
this
right.
this happens a lot too. People, they cycle them in and it's not a fit, and then you never see them again.
Well, that was, the thing that made me the most excited. Someone that I always loved to see was when Jennifer Tilly was on it. And I watched all the Jennifer Tilly stuff because she was kind of like this chaotic calm to the show, which was interesting.
Really, she's a delight.
Mhm.
She's and again, she has a long-standing friendship with Sutton Strack, one of the other members.
Mhm.
Now, so it has to be something. You can't just drop someone in and be like, and now this person, because
Sure.
that doesn't work. There has to be at least some relation. But she has been into light. I would love and she's a friend of, so that's
Right.
how
That's
an
what I assumed. Because I
Yeah.
also was like, I don't know if I want to see this actress I love getting like down and dirty, but I didn't watch enough. Maybe I didn't see enough. She doesn't really do that, right? She
The
kind
prey.
of stays a little out of it.
I've seen some
but-
previews, the new season starting in December, but I learned a lot. But did you? I mean, of course, her money comes from being married to the creator of The Simpsons.
Yeah, I did not know that because like she's
Okay.
like spending all this money. I'm like,
I think she might be the richest one, truly, on that.
I
show.
can believe it because like she was like, I didn't get this all with Chucky money.
Yeah.
I buy my snacks with Chucky money.
Yeah, that's what she said.
And we just recently did the Chucky movies for Halloween, so she was fresh in my mind
Okay.
watching this.
Yes, yeah, that's yeah.
Yeah, this had come up a couple times in the weeks leading up to this episode that like Jennifer Tilly got mentioned and people were like, she's married to somebody, but it's not Matt Groening.
No,
And
it's Sam
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 Simon.
something. Sam, yeah.
Sam Simon.
Yep.
Simon,
Who is a producer.
who's passed, I believe. I think he
Oh,
was.
I think you're right. Yeah.
I think he had cancer, and I think
Mhm.
even though they were divorced,
Yeah, they were divorced. I didn't know he passed.
but I think they were divorced, but he remained in
Mhm.
good. I don't know. So yeah, she's one of the actual richest. ones.
Mhm. And she's spending money on that show, but she also is
She's
like a
got, like,
poker
4 houses. She's got
player.
one house that she like keeps her dolls in. See,
Yeah.
that's the kind of wealth I like to see. Like
Mhm.
some of these cities, Orange County or New Jersey, like there's wealth, like for sure they're richer than we are, but it's not. I want to see someone who has like an extra house just for their dolls.
Yeah.
Or
I think I want to see the either ends. Like I don't need to see people who are struggling, but I would like to see just like people like everyday people and just the insane succession rich people.
yeah,
Yeah.
Because that is something even from the Salt Lake City, I was getting like
it's
even though it's reality, I was getting themes of Succession. Like I think of the Succession episode where like they cancel a party and they're just throwing the lobster away,
Yeah.
throwing all that stuff.
Yeah.
And watching them just like on a giant boat argue the whole time, throw food off it, throw drinks
Yeah.
off it. I'm
Yeah.
just like, you guys are on a nice boat. Like it's nice out. It's Salt Lake City. Have a good time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess that is kind of what attracts you to even some of the different casts too, is the fact that they all do have different backgrounds. Because like Beverly Hills, you expect there's probably some real money there,
Mhm.
or New York City, right? They probably also very rich.
Mhm. The real estate's not as fun in New York City because it's so expensive there that like even the super rich ones still have like just some of the apartments are not. But what they go and do, they go to the Hamptons. They've got their second, yeah. So I just think, I mean, it's again, I wish I could think of a better word than escapism, but it's just kind
Yeah.
of fun to see and spend 30 minutes or 50 minutes a week with this obscene wealth and the private jets. And one was getting mad that someone was eating chips on their private jet, and it's like, I don't know. If you have a private jet, you also have someone to clean your private jet.
Yeah.
If they eat chips on it, but yeah.
I'm gonna do the Mark Maron, who are your guys question.
Mhm.
Who are your housewives?
Who are my housewives?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love from that old New York crew. which again, is no longer a thing, although they all still exist in the Bravo universe. But
Mm.
Luann de Lesseps, an old New York, she's traveling the country with her cabaret show now. And Dorinda Medley from New York. I love the cast of Beverly Hills. I can't say I have like a favorite, but I do love watching the Beverly Hills cast. Um, Salt Lake, I'm really big on Salt Lake right now. Angie, the one that was super into Giannis, she's having a great season.
Yeah.
Who else? I mean, it's like asking your favorite kid. I love and hate them all.
Hey, I mean, if you want to go back to sports and talk about that, and see, this is why I picked WWE, because sports, it's just sports. Like, you have
Mhm.
your favorites, but ultimately they're just playing the game. It's like watching Survivor, right?
Mhm.
It's the same thing. It's like, well, you either enter the competition or you're not.
Mhm.
Whereas like WWE, though, they have personalities. They have like different things going for them. I'm gonna keep hammering this until you guys are like,
Well, there's like the scenes off the mat where they're like
The
in the
interviews.
back and they're talking. There's alliances. There's stuff like that.
There's literally interviews where they're talking to the camera, you guys.
Just like on Housewives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But see, what I would even position, not just to put a final pin in that, is like, I think you could convince a wrestling fan to watch Real Housewives, and I think they would enjoy it because they would get a lot of the same like buzz off of it that they get off WWE.
And vice versa.
Yeah.
This is like the dumbest question, but is it still a thing, WWE?
Oh,
Is
yeah.
it still okay?
Oh, yeah.
I know it was, but then
There are
okay.
online spaces, like, and
Okay.
I've been on like Blue Sky, that are like, against your will, you will find WWE like posts and stuff into your timeline of
Mhm.
people who are like following like John Cena coming back and forward.
Okay.
Which is even funnier too, because so many of these guys now are going to Hollywood and like
Mhm.
finding legitimate success. But I mean, I don't watch WWE at all. I just kind of pick up things from what people are talking about, and I'm like, well, I guess people still watch, or people who are watching like all the spin-off
You
stuff.
keep your thumb on the pulse of things these days,
Yeah.
even when like
Don't
you
want to.
don't want to or don't participate. I mean, a lot of the Bravo shows that I don't like, Summer House, for example, if you've heard of that, even like
Yeah.
I don't watch it, but I could probably sit here and tell you who's dating who and just from like living in a world where the Instagram stories are coming to me.
And I
Yeah.
feel like that's how I actually knew some of like these memes or some of these
Yeah.
faces that I've seen before, is because, yeah, I mean, I was pretty active on Twitter, previously.
Yeah.
And that's where people would be talking about like, oh, this newest episode of Desperate Housewives, and you're following people who
Real
are like,
Housewives.
they keep saying that.
I'm gonna make you take a shot when we should
Honestly, I had the bottle of wine out there. I should have just been like, go take a drink. But no, I would see like Real Housewives, though, like clips show up or people who are talking about it. But it's the same thing with like Golden Bachelorette or The Bachelor. And then you're
Yeah.
just like seeing that. And that's even where I was going to go with that before, too, was like, I certainly know people who are just like, men who like watch with their wives, and they're like, yeah, I get into The Bachelor now, and like I'm all aboard with that. Or they'll do something fun like we do with Great British Bake Off, where we do a survivor pool, and like they have like, oh, who's gonna win The Bachelor? And yeah, but I mean, obviously with this though, you're more invested in like the relationships, the storylines, and everything else, right? So
Mhm.
it's like, I mean, that's why I'm always so curious too, of like, okay, so yeah, what keeps you coming back and again and again? It does sound like it is a lot of the people, the experiences that they're going through.
And I mean, it's crazy. Like it I'm not you can jump in at any time and I encourage you to, but if you've been a fan for a long time, you are, like I said, there are plenty of people who have come and gone or just gone, but also you're seeing you you do develop this parasocial relationship. I mean, some of, Kyle on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, she had 4 daughters. One was a little toddler and she's now like graduated from it's like you're watching, and she's no longer married and she's experimenting with her sexuality post divorce. I mean, so you do see kind of, and I don't even, Kyle Richards isn't even one of my necessarily favorite housewives, but that's an example of the arc that you see. And then in some of the more Orange County, that's not my favorite, but the amount of times these women have become mortal enemies and then best friends in the over the course, it's like, where are we now? Are they, are they following each other on Instagram? And that's something that's like probably very similar to what's happened with WWE too, is that so much of it has become offline, like to the point where, storylines are happening, but the cameras are off. So
Right.
I don't know. It's just, it does become this parasocial thing where you follow them all the time, even when the show is not on, which I'm sure is happening with, uh,
I mean, yeah,
even though those storylines are fake. I mean, people build community around them.
Right.
And
Mhm.
yeah.
But also, I think, and then that's also it too. I think there is some animosity that people hold for each other, and they'll build rivalries around that of like, guys who like don't like each other, or there is now like the divas, and there's like all the like the women drama. I think a lot of women do watch WWE, that are just like in it for like, hey, there's some strong ass women who are like
Mhm.
more entertaining than the men out there right
Mhm.
now, and that's kind of cool. But I think the way I always looked at it too, though, is like you also needed that structure, and you kind of mentioned it too, with like how do they proceed through an episode of like there has to be an inciting incident, and it's like, well, sure, you're gonna rely on some like producing team and writers to kind of get you from point A to point B, but what you do in between, when those wrestlers I think are going to their interviews, they're not rehearsing all that stuff. Some of them are just kind of improvising, and like Fred and I know all about that you can just kind of spit when somebody gives you a prompt. And I think you see a lot of that here where you're right. These women, maybe they were rehearsing a line in their head, or maybe if they're like, I think the one moment I clocked in the Milwaukee episode, and I'm sorry, I was so bad with the names
That's
too.
okay.
But when she was like telling them that they're doing this trip, you could kind of tell there was a little bit of like producers gave her a couple of things to say of like,
Yeah.
we're going to go to the Bobblehead Museum.
Right.
It was like,
They go to the Bronze Fountains.
I don't know that they did.
I don't remember
But they
that.
went to the Miller Caves. They had a knockdown, drag out fight in the Harley Museum. They went again, yeah, Bucks game.
Mhm.
So, um,
But it's like, but you imagine though, like, yeah, there's probably things happening off camera that's
Mhm.
kind of like, stirring in their head.
well, and that's when it gets, someone made a shady comment on Instagram, and then they're fighting again. I mean, it's
Hmm.
it's never ending.
What I always think about when I'm like watching a show like this is like, it's like, you remember like those arguments you want to have sometimes with your partner in real life where you're like practicing the conversation in your head. And it's like, oh, but here I'm going to get like, I'm actually going to say what I want to say. I've been rehearsing this thing, and I'm going to tell this person what I think.
Yeah.
Whereas like, in real, your real life, you're like, I'm going to think better on what I'm going to say to that person because I love them and they are somebody I care a lot about. But it's like here you kind of get these people who are like, I'm going to say it because I've been thinking about this. And it's like, here I go.
And they go for the jugular. And I mean, some of the like the cardinal sins are talking about the children. Like you can't like that will get someone to speak in like a demonic voice, like "Do not come for my children." That was my best Erica from Beverly Hills. But yeah, that will get tempers flaring.
Sure.
Accusations of cheating. Like I saw online that your husband's cheating. The rumor brought up last week on Salt Lake was that your husband was making out with someone and farting the whole time. I mean, this is real. This is real in the sense that I swear that's a line that someone said.
And you're not supposed to do that.
and well, I know, and it was like, was there a flicker in her eye where she didn't believe the makeout part? But then when they said that, she was like, "Oh, it
It's
was
his thing.
That's what Todd does when." But I mean, these are some of the like insane accusations
Sure.
and lobbing just the most hurtful thing you could and then adding to it. Like not just cheating on you, but farting while he was like, how does that rumor get started?
Yeah.
They don't usually go to for the scatological on Housewives, but occasionally they would.
I mean, listen though, if somebody's like, yeah, I saw your husband like making out with someone and he was like ripping ass, like it's
I
it's like
mean, so weird.
too weird to not be true.
Yeah.
This is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
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 There's a lot of too weird to not be true happening on these shows. But then there's a lot of just like outright lies and vindictive, mean things too, I think.
Sure. Yeah. So, like, I don't know. Did we? I mean, I know we're gonna potentially hold like the best moments
Mhm.
for all that, but do you have like memorable like seasons that you really liked, or memorable like, I don't know, like if they are doing like a trip, like that was like
Mhm.
so cool that they did this.
I would say I'm not very good at as far as franchise and what people who watch certain things and are like season 3 episode 5. I'm not good at that kind of thing.
Mhm.
So I can't name in that way,
That's
but
okay.
I can definitely say like moments. I mean the Sprinter van at Salt Lake City, the arrest of Jen Shaw, which they really that really was like a shock to everyone. This woman is still in prison. She is in prison. She's in the same um uh facility as Elizabeth Holmes
Oh
of
wow.
yeah, you sounds like you knew this
Oh, I
or
did know this.
yeah, yeah. She's this is year I mean, I think she's got like a 7-year sentence
What did
and
she do?
she was it was I don't know that embezzling is the right word.
It was
Defrauding.
defrauding
Yeah.
elderly people.
Yeah, like basically the worst thing you can do. I know. And this was like before. This isn't an example of someone who acted out of potential desperate. Had been going on for years. But I mean, like the SWAT team, the FBI, the Homeland Security showed up to in the parking lot of uh one of the women owns a Botox place because of course she does.
course.
Beauty lab. And they were in a Sprinter van in the parking lot about to head I don't know, on a mini trip or something. And so, I mean, that was certainly a memorable scene. One of the other ones, this is something that I don't know if you know about. So did you know that the name Tom is uh, a Bravo, like the greatest villains in Bravo are all Toms. I pulled up one that was an article of like who's the worst Tom on Bravo. Like all the
What?
I know, I'm so sorry to share that, but
Wow.
Checks out.
but there's I mean, but Tom Girardi, he is now he like embezzled like $25 million or no, like way more than that. His wife was on the hook for 25 million.
Mhm.
He was a lawyer who was, yeah, basically Ponzi scheming people. Tom, my favorite line is the New York franchise when Luann, my favorite, was married to this guy that his name was Tom. There's also two Toms from Vanderpump Rules, and they have a bar called Tom Tom. I mean, it's very much a name within the Bravo universe.
Just can't stop thinking
But
about it.
but Tom in New York, Luann is newly married. Bethany has information on him
Wow.
cheating, and she's freaking out because she's scared to tell the news. And she's like, Luann, I have something to tell you. And the exchange is Luann going, please don't let it be about Tom. And she goes, it's about Tom. And that's like my favorite. That's one of my favorite lines. And then she goes to text. I mean, this is what I mean. It's like comedy. Like, please don't let it be about Tom. It's about Tom. And then when she finds out, she texts him, but she voice to texts him. And she goes, Tom, how could you do this to me? Question mark. Like, just hearing like this distraught woman like give a like like voice command with
Sure.
so yeah, those are some big moments finding out about Tom or yeah, the arrest.
That is
There
how things went when I was a kid in my house, and my mom would find something broken, and I go, "Please don't let it be about."
please tell me it's not about it's about Tom. But yeah,
For the
those are-
villain of the Stadler household.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of true. I was the clearly, yeah,
yeah.
all these years.
But those are iconic moments that I'm sure showed up on your
Mm-hmm.
YouTube or on your yeah.
There was some wild shit that
Mhm.
came up. Somebody was throwing tiki torches, and
That was Leah in New York. Yes, that was yep, that was
I love that I just
extremely
paint the scene, and you're like, "Yep, that
Oh,
was Leah."
Yep.
Classic
I'll know
Leah.
if you name a weird thing that happened, I will know who it was.
Ooh, I sense a game.
Yeah, right. I could. Yeah, there's a lot of like unhinged moments, many fueled by alcohol.
The Black Eye from Salt Lake City.
Yes, that was
Did that ever come out?
Yes, it was after Jen went away to prison. Like Heather admitted they were on a cast trip and emerged with like this heinous black eye that
Yeah.
she claims I was drunk. I don't know what happened. And then later admitted that Jen Shaw had caused it. Now we still don't necessarily know what that means unless I've missed something.
But the timeline's crazy because
Yeah.
they like it shows them getting home at like 4 a.m.
Mhm.
and it happened sometime between 4 a.m.
Yeah, because at breakfast the next day, she like dramatically lowers her sunglasses, and it's like a shiner.
Yeah.
Like,
And
it's,
I saw clips later. She's like wearing an eye patch, and I had to laugh because it's like this like big painted eye
Yeah.
thing, and it's huge.
Yeah.
I'm not laughing at getting hurt.
Yeah.
I was laughing at the ridiculous eye patch.
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, the fashion we were talking about is pretty outrageous. And I mean, and I won't ever judge anybody's looks, but some of the work that's been done on some of these women is like, whoa,
I know.
okay.
I know. That's another thing. There's you come back new seasons and people have a new head, basically. So, yeah, I just am endlessly entertained. I don't know what else to say.
I mean, that's all you have to say. As long
Yeah.
as you're entertained and you
Yeah.
like, and I think it makes sense now why you keep coming back for it. Yeah.
And I think the escapism part of it isn't even that I wish I could talk to my friend. I would never talk to my friends that way in a million years. Like, it's crazy to me that these women call themselves friends and talk to each other that way. And I don't wish that I could or want to be in any kind of relation, and yet I find it fascinating.
How do you do in real life? I'm not talking about like your actual relationships, but like if there is a blow up in public, how do you react? Like, how does that hit you versus watching the show?
Am I part of the blow up or am I
No,
watching?
this is just happening you're going out to eat
Yeah.
somewhere, and then like this is going down over here. Is that like two separate things, or do you get a little bit of that like?
I think it's probably too. I think I'm pretty emotionally intelligent. So if it seemed like it was like tea, like someone's like, "Oh, this is gonna be good," but if it's uncomfortable or someone's clearly been hurt, or yeah, no, it does not cross into my like actual personal life. I don't wish to be around fighting, and so I don't know why that part of it is appealing, and I don't only want screaming and yelling, but that it comes with the territory. It certainly does. Yeah.
But there has to be a point, I think, when you are on one of these shows, right? With like, and people that you've been friends with for years. So, I mean, there's probably already and I've certainly had things that I've said to friends, mostly when I was younger. Not as much like, with Fred or anything like that. Although
We'll talk about Fred
I was going to
later.
say, we'll talk about Fred later. We should get dinner, Erin.
Yeah. Just kidding, Fred.
You won't believe the things this guy says. Oh,
About me?
Yeah.
No.
no, but like, I get the sense he doesn't like me. No, just no. Fred's a mensch. No, I'm being for real on that. But I do think what I'm going at is like, I do think there has to be a point where it's like you grow comfortable with like you're gonna speak your mind, say things you probably wouldn't say if a camera wasn't on, and then you're gonna be like, whatever, we're doing this, and we get a TV show. Like, it's fine. We'll bury the hatchet because we got too much at stake to let that shit really, really fester. Like,
Right.
deeper than it
Yeah.
needs to go.
You do know that if you prolong something too long, you run the risk of not being asked back, right?
Yeah.
So there's a motivation to to make up or to fix the problem
Yeah.
or to move on from it. But yeah, I don't know why it's appealing when in real life. And again, like I said, lately, a lot of the fights start because this person said this about you. And I feel like if someone came to me and said like, this person said this about you, I would be like sad for a second. And then I'd be like, okay, let's self-reflect. Like, do they have a point? Should I feel like I would approach it in a completely different way.
Yeah.
And sometimes they do come around and it's like, I don't know. It's
You get the warm
rewarding.
moments.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
It does seem like you're right. There is a handful of those. And I think because it is that like that tension break and then that like catharsis from people like getting over their beef, and you're like, oh, they're gonna be okay.
And it's the bond. I mean, the breaking of the fourth wall is a thing more now than it was before. But there's simply a bond between people who couldn't possibly, like, nobody else could possibly understand what it's like for a camera crew to follow you around for 3 months straight, or however long these seasons take to film. Like, when you're part of something together, even if you hate each other, there's that trauma bond. Maybe it's a trauma bond, but yeah.
For sure. Should we talk a little Show Me the Franchise?
Yeah.
Let's
Show me the franchise. Show me the franchise.
Yeah, so Show Me the Franchise. It's kind of our coulda, woulda, shoulda segment, as we called it. But I guess that's the question for you, Erin. Is there any places that you haven't seen yet that you'd be interested in? Because I think it sounds like you're very intrigued by the dynamics of, like, hey, Salt Lake City is a little more like less glamour, but more like substance. Whereas, like Beverly Hills is like bigger houses, like
Right.
more, or you have like Jennifer Tilly who spent who knows how
Yeah.
much money. But like, yeah, are there any places you would want to see, and like, or any like individuals that you even know about, or like, oh, that person would be really good on?
That's individuals I hadn't thought about, but I can think about. You know, I think I'm answering now differently than I might have years ago. I would have picked other big cities like
Yeah.
um where wealth exists, like Vegas or something like that. But I think there's a case to be made for these like medium-sized cities, but that have a lot of people that maybe it's generational wealth, or maybe it's a place, but I feel like places like maybe like Nashville or New Orleans, or
Ooh.
places like that there's like history and old money, and they've explored like like they've done spin-offs of Southern Charm there. I know there's all these other things but I think maybe maybe like Boston or New England, in the way that Potomac kind of encompasses that Baltimore region, maybe like a New England, maybe it's not Boston, maybe it's. So yeah, I think I think some of those could be interesting. I think people are too nice, and there's wealth here just like there is anywhere, but I
Yeah.
just think people are a little too Midwest nice. I don't know if it would work. Maybe Chicago or North Shore,
Chicago, yeah.
like the rich suburbs of Chicago might work.
Yeah. You're right though. I think in the Midwest you're gonna get a lot of like people who won't say anything to their faces, but then you get them in a booth.
Right, the Midwest nice, or what do
Yeah.
they? Yeah, that's a good point.
Be like, can you believe
Yeah.
what Shirley said?
Yeah. Or like, I mean, you brought up the Bake Off. I mean, there was an entire family argument over sprinkle cookies in New Jersey one year. I mean, they monetize it. That's another, we haven't even talked about that. There's so much, the items and like poorly received like swag that these women try to then makeup lines, candles,
Which becomes fodder to throw at each other when it doesn't do well, it seems like.
Exactly. Well, you on the episode of when they were in Milwaukee on Salt Lake, they were giving Whitney a hard time about her company, and is she sourcing her jewelry from what I assume to be like a Timo. I don't know what they were referencing on the show,
Yeah,
but I
a
think
Timo,
it's
yeah.
like a Timu type thing. Like you're ordering from some like cheap wholesaler and then
Yeah,
reselling. I think
yeah.
that's what they were implying. But yeah, so yeah, cities, I think those are some of the cities. Individuals, I never would have thought Denise Richards would be a great housewife, and yet she was. So that's hard to say because you don't know until you get to know someone.
Mhm.
So yeah, that one's a little tougher, but
Yeah, I guess, and we didn't really talk as much about the spinoffs because you brought up Vanderpump Rules. So was that a business venture? Was the
Yeah.
restaurant?
So Lisa Vanderpump, who was a Beverly Hills housewife, owned several restaurants. One of them is called Sir Sexy Unique Restaurant.
Mm.
So dumb. Have I been there several times? Yes.
Yeah.
I've visited. These are some of the landmarks I've visited.
For sure.
But did a show about the young people who worked, the servers, the bartenders. They're all sleeping with each other, just like any
sure,
service industry place, and that became a real hit.
Mm.
Two of the the maligned Toms are from that show. But
At least Tom's giving me a bad name.
I know. Tom Sandoval. I mean, that was a huge scandal from Vanderpump Rules. So
Want to make it clear.
yeah,
I'm not
you're not
bad.
associated.
I'm
No,
not
you're
associated
good.
with these other Toms.
You're good, Tom. You're good, Tom.
Thank you.
Um,
It's like my mother said. You're a good
you're
Tom.
good, Tom. Yeah.
Were there any spin-offs though that you would want to see that were like Vanderpump?
Well, Vanderpump really did work. They did do a Denise Richards one recently with Wild Side with Denise Richards. And they did, more just a focus on her and her daughters. There have been a lot of, they've tried to do. I think I want a life after lockup. I think that's what we need to do. I think we need to find a way, like get the cameras up in
Yeah.
prison. I mean, I think that's what I would like to see. Like, what's it? I mean, like I said, a couple of them are drunk driving. Like I said, mostly they're not victimless crime, especially defrauding elderly people.
Right,
But it's also not like second degree murder or anything like that. So I want cameras up in prison. I want to know, are they creating drama within among their cellmates? Is there a show there? Is there a love after lockup?
Yeah.
That's what it's called. That show. That's a real show.
I think
Oh,
it's-
yeah.
especially if it is like these women who are more exploitative, like Elizabeth Holmes was.
Yeah.
Because it's like otherwise I might feel a little like dirty about exploiting
Yeah.
like prisoners.
And by the way, I'm answering your question. I don't know that I would actually want to watch that, but I think there's somewhere they could go, or some sort of legal, I don't know, rehabilitation for these
just to see
like-
how they deal with it.
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
yeah.
Like, is there
I
redemption?
think that's got to be the next step. Yeah.
Mhm. That'd be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Fred. Anything that you had like ideas of like coulda, woulda, shouldas?
Yeah, I had a thought. We do quite enjoy watching Great British Bake Off. And, in the United States, we have a lot of cooking shows, and it does kind of have this like nasty edge to it. There's infighting, there's yelling, this and that. I would be interested in just like the Nice Wives from Nice Town, and it's like in England somewhere.
Okay.
And it's like, today the girls are having a picnic,
Oh.
and then they just have a good time, like maybe there's a little drama, like, oh, they forgot the tea, but
They
then
forgot their teeth.
just so happens a tea van came by and the day was saved, I just like it when it's nice.
Yeah,
Okay, that's fair.
that is fun.
Another coulda not. I don't know if it's a woulda, coulda, woulda, shoulda, or shouldna is what I've been trying. I don't know if this is the appropriate place to talk about what is a real downside for the franchise right now.
No, do it.
Which is, or the franchises, I should say, which is either the casting of people who are not friends,
Yeah,
and then the blogosphere, the TikTokers of it all are becoming actually storylines on the show,
oh,
which is a huge bummer to me. I do not, if there's like one mention of like, well, you talked to this person on this podcast and said that, like, okay, fine. But like the entirety, like this season of Salt Lake is fantastic, but a couple seasons ago, almost the entire season was about who is talking to, and OC was like that this year. They kept using the term blogger. I'm like, are we still, I mean, don't we mean someone who's doing Instagram? I don't know if we mean an actual
Right.
blogger
yeah.
or a podcaster, but like they're like bringing her on the show and saying, did Katie tell you that Tamara said this about this? And like, I hate that. Like there has to be, I don't know, that I think that's really, really ruining it. The performative, these women being more performative because they know what the camera wants. So that's whether it's creating drama by talking to the press, and in this world, the bloggers and Instagram are the press, talking to the press, um, or calculating things that are not organic. Like, we have an eye for it, those of us who have been watching for a while. And that's what's really about, is like, now you're getting people on the show who's been watching it for 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
And then I don't know. So that's kind of it's not really a coulda, woulda, shoulda, but it's more of like, what is like a big channel, or, I mean, I think it could be the end of, it could eventually mean the end, when, if these storylines are truly nothing but what you're saying off screen to someone who then prints it or posts it and then fighting about it the next season. I mean, no one's trying to watch that. I
Yeah.
don't know. It's this breaking of the fourth wall in a way that, in some cases, it need to be broken. Like, if they're referencing a fight at the reunion, they used to be like, well, when we were in New York, you said that. And now they will just say, like, when we were filming the reunion. So they will like acknowledge that they're on a show,
Of
which
course.
I'm okay with. But all of the other stuff and the performative of it, I just want it to be more organic. That's why I think it's important that these people know each other, so they don't have to like formulate. So that's what I was gonna say for that kind of.
Yeah, I'll even say that to that, because I think that's almost a coulda, woulda, shoulda of like, they should have just ditched that, and not engaged with like these external people. But I do feel like there's even shows, though, I've yet to see a successful version of this, but like, where you'll like have a movie where somebody's making a movie and then they're engaging, like, oh, did you see what the bloggers are saying about the production or something like that? Or like, even like, I was thinking like Kevin Smith like seemed to rail on that a lot, and that got really tiresome. And I just feel like it's never like, it gets a little cringe all the time, and you're also just like, okay, this is feeling a little too meta. Like,
Right.
if you want to
That's
address criticisms that people have about your show or whatever, but like, yeah, don't use that as like material for your show. Otherwise,
Exactly. Don't use it as material. Like, you can make, not treat the audience like an idiot by calling something obviously show related a trip to New York. But yeah, don't make it the plot point or the reason why you're fighting.
Right. I don't know.
Find a reason to fight. Find an organic reason to fight.
I'm sure they've got plenty of
Yes.
reasons to fight.
Yeah.
Yes, they do. Because I don't know that I have any firm coulda, woulda, shouldas. It would be interesting though to see, like, I don't know, kind of like you said, like, them start to cross over people. Like you mentioned, like the wife swap idea.
So there is something called Ultimate Girls Trip, which I
Uh-huh.
just feel like I'm like bringing up all these advanced housewives
Get
thing
advanced.
when we're in like housewives elementary school
Oh, it's
right
all
now.
good.
But there is Ultimate Girls Trip, which does just that, and that's pretty cool. They'll take women from different cities and send them on a 2-week trip to I don't even know, one was in Thailand. That one never was. Again, there was allegations and crimes that happened, so that one was never released.
Oh,
But
wow.
potential crimes, alleged crimes. But so you do get to see how they engage with one another, and that's kind of fun. Seeing the house husband, some of the cities have the house husbands a little more present than other cities, and that's a little annoying. That's in a shouldna, couldn'ta, wouldn't shouldn't. Like, I don't really want to be. It's okay if we get to know them and see scenes with them, but New Jersey, they'll do like entire like montages of like, now the guys are out playing poker, and that's not why I'm watching this.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's just a little too extra, it seems like.
Mhm.
But you did remind me though too, because I mentioned there's international editions. I suppose that's also on the map of like places you want to see. But I'll give you guys a quick rundown. There is Dubai, Athens, Vancouver, Toronto, Melbourne,
Melbourne,
Sydney,
London.
yeah, Cheshire.
Mm.
Assuming that's how you pronounce that. I'm
That
questioning
maybe
it.
that's
Yeah,
the
the
nice ladies of
nice
Town.
ladies of Nice Town.
Yep. Jersey, which is also in the United Kingdom, Auckland, New Zealand, Budapest, Johannesburg. Wow, a lot of South Africa. There's like
Wow.
7 or 8 different ones.
Really? You have to have an entire different. You have to have like Heyo. Do you know that the app that is like an international? I don't know. I've never seen except for Dubai. Dubai, they were airing on Bravo for a while.
Oh wow.
That'd be real escapism. I feel some
That
real
is-
money.
That is like
Wow.
insane money. Yeah. I didn't love it. I yeah. A lot of money, and also you can't drink there. I'm sorry to say that a lot of the better I mean maybe in your house you can, but establishments, and I'm just alcohol really fuels so
Yeah, I think that's the juice that gets it going for most reality shows.
Yeah.
There's a reason why there's generally a big stocked bar at most
Yeah.
shows.
I mean, I feel like they do that on The Bachelor and stuff, like get these people drunk.
Oh, yeah.
For better or for worse. But that was my concern about Dubai. I'm like, wait, they can't drink? Then how are they gonna get the courage to call someone like the most insane like
Yeah.
pejorative you've ever heard?
Something you would never even think to say.
Yeah.
But no, it is interesting. Yeah, I was just kind of running down the list. There's like a couple in Italy, like Germany. I mean, it sounds like they already are a step ahead of the game of like,
Yeah.
where can we go?
It's a true international franchise.
Yeah.
It is, which it's wide sprawling. It's still growing, as we just talked about. Like Rhode Island is coming, and yeah, I mean,
Maybe you guys should get in on the ground level with Rhode Island. It'll be new to all of us.
I mean, I do love those accents in Rhode Island.
yeah, like you saying, you get.
Are they like Philly accents, or are they more like East
It's
Coast?
Boston-y, I think.
Boston-y.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just thinking of Family Guy. Like you mentioned Lois Griffin
Oh, yeah.
before too. Yeah, it's very like I don't even. He's just doing a Peter Griffin.
She,
That's
she should be.
I would like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
really funny. Anyone else? Any other ideas, or should we get into the power rankings for this?
Power rankings.
Let's do the power rankings.
Okay.
Power rankings this week are the top 3 moments.
Mm-hmm.
Erin, are you equipped? Are you ready?
I am, but we touched on a couple of them. I mean,
That's okay.
you got to go Sprinter Van.
Mhm.
And then there's one Scary Island, which the real fans of New York will know. This was when Kelly Ben Simone completely lost her mind on Bethany Frankel on a cast trip in New York.
Mhm.
So that made for some incredible memes. And Bethany yelled back at her, "Go to bed." I mean, it's a great scene. It's a classic. How many do I do?
You can do 3, or if you have a
3?
couple, you go
Okay.
for it, yeah.
Okay.
You can do some honorable mentions too.
Oh,
Yeah.
sure. Well, let's see. Sprinter Van, Scary Island. There's so many just great lines. I mean, I hope it's not about Tom. That's certainly one. What else are my favorites? Let's see. Oh, and then okay, the Beverly Hills cast trip to Amsterdam. The line being, "Were they doing cocaine in your bathroom, Dorit?" And like that is, I have friends who have like cross stitch of like, were they doing cocaine in your bathroom? That is certainly one. Aviva Drescher on New York throwing her beautiful woman, former model, I believe. She does have a prosthetic leg,
Oh.
and she did throw it at at a group of women because she got angry. See, now that's one I do want. Was this planned? Was she like, there's a point at which I'm gonna shock people, but Aviva Drescher throwing her leg is certainly one. The table flipping, Teresa Giudice flipping the table at a baptism is one. That's more than you asked for. I could go on
No.
forever. There are so many amazing moments with these insane women.
But it's appreciative that you gave us a good rundown, because like I think the only moment that like sticks in my head, aside from the cat meme, but just we obviously nobody
all
knows the
know.
context for that.
Yeah.
But I don't. There was at least one clip though where like Kyle Richards was like telling somebody that like they do something all the time, and I can't remember what her name was, but she just kept going, name them, name
Oh,
them,
name them, name them.
And-
That's she's from Augusta, and
Oh, hey.
I don't know if that's near where you're from.
Not quite, but like close enough. Like new people from Augusta for sure.
But I mean, obviously now she's in Beverly Hills. But yeah, name them,
yeah,
name them.
Was-
And it was like it's the equivalent of like if you know when you're trying to like bug your little sibling and you're just like holding the finger there, but I'm not touching you.
Yeah.
Like it was making her so mad. Like she's like, you keep doing that, bro. Name them,
Mhm.
name them,
I will say too,
name them. And she didn't get rattled whatsoever.
it definitely reminded me like those moments, yeah, or just like, and you're just like, I don't need to name them, you know what they are.
Yeah. And like the person gets more and more insane. And
Yeah.
she's just like, I think she was trashed in that moment. I
Sure.
think she probably had like like half a bottle of vodka
Oh,
for
jeez.
breakfast. But yeah, there's a lot of great lines. So
They're powered by Tito's on
I
the
mean,
show.
there was one drunken moment where Dorinda was going off the rails and Luann goes, she's starting. And I say it all the time. We're having my that thing right now where we cannot figure out why the smoke alarm. Well, we have like it's like, are we being punked? Like we have undone the wires, we have changed and I did it tonight. Like we thought it was fixed, and then it beeped, and I was like, she's starting. That's like what I say all the time when like things start to escalate or like annoying things happen. Like she's starting.
That's
So
funny.
I think that might be what I use for you when you start going Dad Stadler mode. He's starting.
I don't even know what that means.
Oh, there's like I feel like at a wedding function that we both were at, or just out.
Oh.
It's like a 2 beer thing. You become very much like your dad type, where you're very, talking to everyone. You're throwing stories. It's like it's very great. It's very welcoming. But Jasmine and I were like, oh, he's getting into dad mode. Yeah, so now it's just gonna be he's starting.
Yeah.
Now a new bit is born.
yeah, there you go. There you go.
Oh, these are very good. I do have to just say it was also funny because Kyle Richards, the only thing I knew her from was the original Halloween.
Yeah.
movie. Yeah, when she was just a little girl, and you're like, holy
Yeah.
crap.
See, that's the level of celebrity that works on these. If you get someone too elevated, they're not going to want to share their lives. They're not going to, which is a big complaint on some people who come on. Like we just like Jennifer Tilly, like we get a little bit, but I would like to learn a little more. Like what's, if there's some, it doesn't have to be bad, but I would like to dig a little deeper. She's seeing anyone now or where, so, but it's about that level that you can't really exceed because publicists wouldn't let it happen.
Right. Yeah. But still, it was fun to see.
Yeah.
Do you have any moments you wanted to share?
I think I kind of called out all mine because I did just kind of take in a lot quickly, but I'll just say I was very happy to see Jennifer Tilly. I love Jennifer Tilly.
Yeah.
It's very pleasant. It's a good like
Yeah.
nice note.
I'm getting your vibe, Fred. You like the happy things.
And it's like my movie things, I can watch like the most messed up stuff, but it's like even reality stuff, I am kind of like if there's like an actual fight in real life or even in a reality show, I get to
don't-
clam up and I'm like, yeah. But then I'll watch like
Weapons.
John Wick and Weapons.
Weapons. I feel like that. I feel like I understand what you're saying. Some of the fighting can be a little triggering in some ways, and that's how I am. But like I said, like the dating show, I don't like those because it's not fighting, but maybe they're lying or they're being untruthful or and that same thing. I'm like, I don't want to see like a woman being lied to by this guy who's I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know, I just don't like it, or I don't know.
No, I get that.
No, and I think, and there is certainly things, and I think we've talked about plenty of things on this franchise. We've done over 90 episodes now. I counted today, but and it's like there are franchises where if somebody's going through, they go, "Why did they talk about that? I don't like that at all." And it's like everyone's tastes are different,
I know.
And we talked about it too. It's like I'm not the biggest reality TV show fan in general.
Yeah.
Like I don't seek it out. So it's like that's why I really have never watched Real Housewives before. But yeah, certainly it's like I grew up like in high school, like watching football or like that. And people were like, oh, football's boring. Those are just like all meatheads and stuff. It's like you hear that stuff all the time. You go through it, and it's like, well, yeah. So you're not into football. That's fine. You know.
Well,
It's-
that's why I defensively sent you all the great thinkers who are also Bravo fans, like Michelle Obama,
Yeah.
Roxanne Gay, John Oliver. I mean, you know, I am in good company with people
Oh, yeah.
who
Oh.
partake. But I do feel defensive sometimes.
No, I
Like
think
you were
everyone
saying.
also has that stuff that
Yeah.
like this isn't for everybody, but this is my shit.
Yeah, don't
Yeah.
talk shit.
No, and I think that's fine. I mean, if everybody had the same tastes in this world,
Be
nothing would be
boring.
interesting. You know, it's
Good
like,
point.
and that's how you
Point.
find community. And I think that was a big piece you called out too, even with beyond the great thinkers of the world.
Yeah.
But if it's something that you can talk about with your friends or
Yeah.
something like that, and you're like, oh my god, did you catch the latest episode? It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
it's no different than watching Great British Bake Off and being like, did you see who went home?
I
Mhm.
love that you guys are into that. Should I start watching it? Maybe. Okay. I
Yeah.
don't know how to bake at all. I'm a good cook, but I don't. Well, not maybe a good cook. I like to cook. I do not like to bake.
Do you like looking at cool bakes? And
Sure,
like,
I like eating baked goods.
Mhm.
I
I
mean,
don't like touching flour. I gotta
Oh.
think. I don't know.
I
I can
get
watch it, but
it.
it feels gross.
It would be interesting if you're like,
I recoil?
I gotta look away when the flower's on the screen.
But I don't really like. I mean, I like took a cooking class at like Italian where they were making pasta and they
Yeah.
did a pile of flour and you go like that and you put the egg in and I was like using my elbow. And she's like, "What are you doing? Why did you sign up for this class?" I'm like, "I don't know. I didn't know we had to touch flour." She's like, "You didn't think flour was in pasta?" I don't know, but
Well, I mean, that's what the kids say every once in a while. You gotta touch flower,
yes,
right?
yeah.
yeah, touch
Let's
flower.
start a new
Yeah,
phrase.
not touch
Yeah.
grass. You gotta touch.
Touch flower.
Yeah.
I get that with like dredging, and you get once you get like a batter going with the flour, and you get the cakey fingers. That I'm like, I don't like.
Do you
this.
like to bake though?
I love to cook. I'm fine with baking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just can't get as creative, I feel like. But
True.
maybe I'll check it out.
No.
I digress.
I mean, no, I think that's how my wife Jasmine feels too. Is she's like, I can't stand baking because she's like, if I make a mistake, I feel like the whole
It's
thing's
very
ruined.
it's very science versus
Mhm.
art.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Instead of like cooking where it's like you can kind of like fix it by
Sure.
adding or taking
Yeah.
away.
Yeah.
Right? So
Anyway.
it's yeah, it'd be a fun thing. But lest we say anything less about Real Housewives, I do think we have said just about everything we want to say today. Erin, thank you so much for coming. But
Thank you.
before we let you go, is there anything that you would like to plug?
Well, I already said I think we should all commit to watching the new Rhode Island Housewives of Rhode Island whenever that comes out. No, I'm not an artist or a comedian or anything, but I do work at WWM and we are severely underfunded by recent cuts from the administration. We're doing great and the community has really responded in an amazing way. But I would, if I'm going to plug anything, I would say support your local public media, your local public, your local journalists. There's only one way to get fact-based news in our community right now. And if you should choose to support that, you can go to WUWM.com, click on the red button that says support. Do I sound like I'm on a member drive now?
No, you sound like me on my morning drive. You know.
So no, that's all. But thank you so much for having me. This was fun.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, and I want to say just go a step further. You know, when we're saying support, you know, if you guys have never donated out there before to, you know, local radio or, you know, just like NPR or anything, you should. Like it's such great outlets. It's
Yeah. And my role is corporate support. So I will say another great way, if you don't feel like you have the means to donate, but you hear a message on air from a local business
Yeah.
supporting the station, that's a great way to support. Go into Corazon or Centro or somewhere like that and say like, hey, thanks for supporting WUWM while you're patronizing them. So there are many ways. If you can't do it right out of pocket, then at least find a sponsor and thank them. So
Well said.
yeah. Thank you so much for that. Yeah, absolutely. We're big fans. So. Fred, anything you would like to plug?
Got a few things I'd like to plug. I believe tonight I will be performing at the Garage Comedy Sports for the Schmitz and Giggles talent show. Come see me sing some songs, play a little guitar, and that is for charity. And they're going to be doing some raffle and fundraising stuff that night as well. I also have on 12/5, so December 5th. I am writing and directing and producing a sketch show called Pilot Season. My group is called Embarrassment of Riches. It's going to be awesome. If you want to hear some sketches that I wrote, come out to that. We do have a show December 13th.
Yes.
Father Figures, if you want to see Tom and I perform improv together.
Yeah.
And then I'll also throw out 12/20 if you're in the holiday spirit. You can come see a holiday improv show with 2 acts. One is going to be a Hallmark style show. I think there's some maybe past guests who might be in that.
Mm-hmm.
And the second half will also be holiday themed, but that is TBD what that's going to look like.
Yeah, you should definitely go check out all those shows. Yeah, and I think tonight would be the 21st when this comes out. If you're
Yep.
listening the day this drops, then you should definitely check out Fred. Yeah, and then don't miss Father Figures, like you mentioned, Saturday, December 13th. We'll be making our return to the stage. A Father Christmas is what we're calling. It's weird, dorks. As for anything else I'll plug, I'm just going to plug our show. If you enjoyed what you heard, please remember to rate and review this podcast. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, and YouTube. Join our Patreon. I already mentioned it. You're going to get hit again. For just $1 a month, you get exclusive bonus episodes from Fred and I. This month, we are doing Thanksgiving movies. Should be fun. I've got a couple in mind now that I wasn't thinking of last time, and now I got a lot to say.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. The list goes deeper than you would think.
Yeah. It'll be really good, really a lot of fun. Definitely sign up for that if you guys have not yet. Special thanks to Nick Spitza and Mike Schwantz for our opening and closing theme songs. And stay tuned for our next episode where we'll be talking about probably our most like meta episode to date, because we're talking about a podcast, The Doughboys.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Yeah, we've come full circle. I kind of feel like
Yeah.
about that. But lest we get too far ahead, Erin, thank you once more for being here.
Thank you.
Yeah. And thank you all for listening. And we'll see you next time.
Goodbye.
I've got no cares, 'cause all I want to do is charge my phone and drive listening to you. And what they talk about will always be up to you.
I was early.